Nigeria has deployed troops to patrols and search for the remaining victims of Rukuba road attack on commuters in Jos. Troops are also deployed to conduct surveillance and maintain law and order in Jos metropolitan area. The troops have rescued a total of 36 victims of the attack. The army says that they are in a stable condition, while those hospitalized are responding well to treatment. Equally, more arrests have been made in connection with the heinous act, bringing the total of 21 suspects in custody. To get a better understanding of the situation in Jos, we are now joined by Nigerian journalist Samson Omale. Samson, a very good evening to you. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to the Globe.
Thank you very much. Good to be with you this evening.
Likewise, sir. And an armed attack has resulted in at least 20 fatalities near Jos, in Plateau State. What could be the possible motive for these attacks?
Okay, so as you do well know, Nigeria's been having its own fair share of multiple security challenges and threats all over the country, from banditry to kidnappings, and of course, where there are violent attacks by armed herders against farmers. You also have those issues around various parts of the country, particularly in the north. And then, of course, it's more prevalent in the north-central part of the country. Now, Jos is situated within the middle belt, what we call the middle belt, or the north-central Nigeria. And this, in the last couple of weeks, we've had several attacks by armed herders on farmers, where their farmlands have been destroyed, their houses were also destroyed, and also a lot of people were killed in such attacks on farmers. We don't understand why this is ongoing, but of course, these are conflicts. Some others call it conflict, others call it attack. So you have that which was prevalent in some part of the state, Plateau State, where Jos is the capital. It's about 400 kilometers away from the nation's capital, Abuja. Now, just about 3 weeks ago now, just yesterday, we had these travelers who were coming from another part of the northeastern part of the country, northwestern part of the country, were passing through Jos, as we're made to understand. And they ran into this procession of these people who were killed a couple of weeks ago, who were going to convey their dead ones to be buried. And it was actually going to be a mass burial. Unfortunately, they got caught up in that procession. After a few interrogations, they couldn't really get who they were, but of course they knew they were, herders who belonged to this particular ethnic group, the Fulanis, as it were. And what we now need to see is that 23 persons were killed in that, situation. Whether it was an ambush or not, it's very difficult to say. But what we do know is that 23 people were killed, and as you rightly reported, about over 20 were severely injured, and several others are taking some bit of treatment right now in the hospitals. But things actually got degenerated this morning because as people were preparing to go to church, they were also attacked in various parts of the town. And we also have a situation where the main university, called the University of Jos, also had a lot of tense moment. And just before we came on air, I understand that early this morning, 2 of the students in that university were killed.
Samson, Nigeria has been battling instability lately, mainly in the north, including Boko Haram, but we've also seen kidnapping for ransom. Is the state security machinery battling to cope with this?
Yes, I think to be fair on the Nigerian security apparatus, they seem to be overstretched. Now, while they are battling with Boko Haram in the north eastern part of the country, you also have this series of other challenges, security challenges, as you rightly mentioned, kidnapping, banditry, and all of that, which is also ongoing. That's, beyond also what you have, like we have in Jos at the moment, where you have herders and farmers, attacks back and forth. Now, they've done the bits they have, but again, Nigerians are not having, they're not very comfortable that while these attacks keep going and it's keep progressing, they've not been able to properly, bring it to the barest minimum, because again, we get to hear several of these attacks going on. By the way, in Sokoto State, which is the northeastern part of the country, just today, about 9 people were killed by supposed bandits who attacked a particular community. So you have these pockets of attacks and, of course, killings, which is ongoing. And the security agencies, whether it's the military or the police, have their hands really very full. And we're tipping to a point where a lot of people are saying that urgent step needs to be taken. And that's why in certain instances, even the President Muhammad Buhari has been told to ask for help from foreign nations to deal with the several challenges Nigeria is grappling with at the moment.
We know that conflicts in northern Nigeria are often driven by competition for access to resources such as grazing areas and water. Any links, perhaps, in this instance to any of the issues mentioned?
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, so the situation you have is, you have the northern part of the country, which is having its own share of desertification. And of course, that comes with lack of water, arable land for grazing, for farming, for livestock and all of that. And in this part of the world where we're not yet developed our ranching, mechanism, these pastoralists need to move with their livestock. So they cross from the very northern part of Nigeria to the southern part of Nigeria. Now, in the course of trying to get food for their livestock and all of that, now they get into farms. And when they get into these farms are having to, cultivate so that they can also, have something to sell and feed their families with. What you now get is cows, for instance, destroying crops. And that that results in some sort of conflict and attacks. And of course, what we're seeing these days also is the competition for land and, of course, space because of Nigeria's growing population. So that's one leg of what we've been told over time is been responsible for these attacks. But beyond that, also, you have the political side of this, where Nigeria's fault line along religion, ethnicity is also being explored by the politicians who use this to their advantage, because they know they can score some political goal with it.
And according to reports, the attackers were part of a Christian Irigwe militia group. Tell us more about this militia group and what they are fighting for.
Okay, so now that report also, I can tell you as a journalist who is on ground, is something we cannot substantiate because, again, it's really the first time we're beginning to hear that there's a Christian militia of some sort around here. We've never heard that before. But what we do know is that you have criminals, and you have criminal gangs, you have cultists around these areas also, who possibly may have taken advantage of the security lapse and breach, to also, cause some sort of confusion, and all of that. So for now, even the police have not really, and the security operators have not really come out clear to tell us, who this is. But I think it's something that in the next few days we'll be able to get a heads up as to who exactly these groups are.
And President Muhammadu Buhari has directed security agencies to fish out the killers. Does the country's armed forces have the skills and the capacity to fulfill this order?
Now, that's where the problem is. Yes, they do have the skills. Yes, they do have the capacity. But the question is, will they be willing to do it? Because what we've seen over times with these killings, these attacks, is that very few persons are arrested. Very few, if there are any, are prosecuted. And that's where, a lot of the times that the President Buhari's administration is being called out, because it's from the core north. There are temptations by those who come from the south that, look, it's because most of these is domiciled from where you come from. That's why you're not having you're not trying to display the political will to bring these guys to book, to arrest them, to prosecute them. So it's not the first time, I dare say, that the president has given such kind of directive. I dare also say that it's not the second time he's given such kind of instruction. But over time, what we're seeing is that these instructions just stop as the way they are, as it's announced, and we really don't get to see substantial efforts being made in that direction to bring those perpetrators to book.
Okay, and the violence in Jos seems to be spilling over into the education sector now, with the announcement that the local university has now suspended classes. Is there a link between the two events?
Yeah, absolutely. Because again, the university is situated in a place where it seems to be like a buffer zone, where the university had its own fair share of some form of attacks. Some of the lecturers over time in the kind of conflicts we've noticed here have been killed and all of that. So the students there at the University of Jos are currently writing their second semester examinations. And the university authorities, after it got reports that 2 of the students were killed this morning, Sunday morning, from a spillover of what happened on Saturday, they took a step to close down the university until further notice.
And the members of the university community, especially staff and students, are hereby advised to exercise extreme caution and comply with all the security directives. Is the academia perhaps a likely target in the ongoing conflict?
Well, that is not what we can say for now, but I think they are being caught within a circumstantial, environment where the environment where they are located, is volatile, for the lack of good words to use, because again, you have these people who, based on whatever happened yesterday, reprisals, and then they take up to the street, and whoever they see, who they feel, it does not really belong to them, they would like to vent their anger on them. And of course, the university is trying to protect all of that. They're trying to protect the lives of the students. That's why they've closed down the school. And of course, getting police and even soldiers to get over there to protect, the infrastructure and even the students who are back on campus.
All right, Samson, it's been lovely chatting to you. Thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome, man.